Oh, okay. Welcome back, everybody. We are here at the 2018 ASANA Softball World Series in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is the E Division Championship game. This is what it has all come down to. Win and you get a big old giant trophy and bragging rights, and lose and you still get a big giant trophy and bragging rights that you were only the second best. So we've got a couple of excellent teams here on the field for you. This is between the Jokers of Norfolk, Virginia. They will be the team coming out of the winner's bracket and making their way into this championship game from the losers brackets will be the Fort Lauderdale West Palm Beach Breaking Bats. And with me in the broadcast booth is my partner for the day, Dr. Joel Trambley.
Good morning, Roman. It's exciting to be here. This looks to be a great day of softball and a great E-championship game. We're starting to see the weather pick up a little bit. And we want you to know that today's games are brought to you by Dirt Athletics, your premier choice for event apparel. A key ASANA partner for 11 years. If you've been to an ASANA tournament, chances are you've come home with dirt on you. If you're looking to upgrade the hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and shorts for your event, find out what Dirt can do for you. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/dirtathletics.
And the first pitch of this championship game is brought to you by Nancy Rayback, your hotel lady. If you're working on an event like a tournament or a work conference, let Nancy Rayback activate her network of hotels and event spaces to find you the best deal. She has been the premier lodging source for ASANA since 2008, and you can reach her at hotelsbynancy.com. So we're getting ready to put the lineups up here, and we have three umpires. We've got Ben from Washington, D.C., Carla from Dallas, Texas, and Wendy Gershon, who is from Alameda, California, just out there in the Bay Area. And a shout out to Wendy, who is also in the Hall of Fame and the Alameda Women's Softball Commissioner. So we've got lots of experience out there. Not sure who's going to be behind the plate here. I think they're going to flip for that. And then we'll have a three-umpire mechanic.
We had some gorgeous weather for the first game we broadcast this morning with just a little bit of sun shining in the right fielder's eyes, but it's getting a little darker and the wind's picking up, as we can see by the flags out in the outfield blowing across from left to right.
And that's going to blow in some rain clouds. We've got a little bit of a storm brewing just to the east of us, and as the winds are blowing east to west, we might get a little bit of rain. If that happens, some of our equipment might decide to take a break on us, but we've got backup systems in place, as Breaking Bats will take the field as the home team in this E Division Championship game. So Breaking Bats will be the home team, and the Jokers will be the visitors. For the Jokers coming up, we've got Barb Wilt, Terry Anderson, and Mary Hardesty batting 1, 2, and 3.
ASANA uses a classification system to put players in the various divisions, and the E level is where the lowest players on that classification system go, but the play is still competitive. There's a lot of heart out there, and you're still going to see some amazing softball plays in this game.
Yeah, defense will be key for this championship game, as well as just being smart around the base paths. Both of these teams are pretty solid fundamentally. We've had the pleasure of seeing them both here, and let me tell you a little bit about the Jokers. They are co-managed by Deb Taylor and Karen Brickhouse. Karen Brickhouse is in the Hall of Fame. The team founded a long time ago. Been together 21 years. They tell you they'll have the oldest average age team in ASANA. They love to have fun, play softball, and make life-lasting friendships. A lot of these folks have been together an awfully long time. Still balling in the bayou here, while the Breaking Bats are managed by Jennifer Wrigley-Klein and Michelle Levine. Michelle Levine is a NOLA native and an LSU alumnus. And that will bring up Barb Wilt for this first pitch of this E Division Championship game, and here it is. Called a strike on the outside corner. We've had both of these teams, Joel, and both of these pitchers are on their game this week.
Yes, they are. That was a beautiful first pitch right over the outside corner.
And Barb does exactly what she's supposed to do. Gets a little poke out there to left center over the shortstop's head. She's on base for a leadoff single. Here to get things started for the Jokers. That'll bring up Terry Anderson.
And it looked like that relay throw might have slipped a little bit out there. It is wet from yesterday out in the outfield.
Pitcher comes set. Here's the pitch. That's going to be inside. She'll sniff at that and let it go. So ball two. 2 balls and 1 strike. So the batters will enter the batter's box with a 1-1 count. There's a ground ball at the third baseman. Just gets past her. Shortstop backs it up. Gets it over to second. And Barb is going to be out at second on the fielder's choice from Terry. But Terry is safe at first, and that'll bring up Mary Hardesty.
Nice play by the shortstop there with a batter on first. You can play a little deeper in the hole and make that throw to second when you have time.
And when you have that force in play, that's a good place to be. I'll bring up Mary Hardesty here with a runner on in this championship game. She lets that one go, but it's called a strike. That was one of those tricky ones. It started looking like it was going to be inside and then curved back kind of at the last minute, bringing the count to 1-2. She has to kind of go after that one, sends it into foul territory, and because of that 1-1 count, that first pitch was strike 2, and that was strike 3 for the strikeout.
And that's the tough part of the 1-1 count. If you choose to watch that first pitch go by, you've got to make that first swing go in play. Otherwise, you're going to foul out, and that's a strikeout.
That'll bring up Tanya Geely. Batting cleanup here with 2 outs and a runner on. Tanya's had a good tournament this week. Here's the pitch. Sends that one a little shot out to the left center field. That's going to get past the shortstop.
Left fielder does a nice job cutting that ball off, keeping it from rolling past them and letting that runner advance to third.
Anderson gets to second. Tanya is safe at first, and the shortstop looks at her infield and says, okay, everybody take a breath. We're good. We've got to force it 1 or 2 or 3. Lots of ways to get an out here. But this Jokers offense trying not to be stymied. Their first at bat in this championship game. Here's the pitch. There's a shot right at the shortstop. She's up with it. Decides to go the short way over to third for the shortest out possible. And the breaking bats of West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale get out of it without giving up a run, as Shilton hits into the fielder's choice that forces out Sanderson for the third out. That out is brought to you by PTS Logistics, an Atlanta-based third-party logistics provider specializing in white glove delivery service, custom fulfillment, long and short-term warehousing, and dry ice sales and distribution. Let them do a run for you. Check them out at pts-ga.com.
Looks like we've got a little bit of action out there with the fire truck and maybe an ambulance coming around here. Might be something on one of the other games.
Yeah, in case you were able to see those lights or hear those sirens, it is not on our field. So leading off for the Breaking Bats, the home team, will be Barta, Prager, Stewart. Those are the first batters of the inning. Barta's in left field. Prager is at shortstop. Stewart in right center.
And we mentioned the outfield might be a little bit wet from rains yesterday, but the infield has been playing pretty solid. It's actually a turf infield, despite the brown you see out there. That's all turf, and it's been giving pretty true hops for the infielders here.
That surface is beautiful out there. So here comes Barta stepping into the box. And the pitch is called a strike. That's a beautiful pitch right on the inside corner and high. Kind of high and inside. There's a ground ball to second base, past the glove of the second baseman. And Barta is aboard with a leadoff single.
And you might have noticed the pitcher for Breaking Bats was pretty much on the middle of that pitcher's line, which is 50 feet away from the plate. The pitcher for Jokers is moving around a little bit and trying to create some interesting angles. That was probably a tough pitch to look at, coming from the far side across to the inside of the plate.
Did a good job of making solid contact there. And there's a solid contact. A shot to left center field. She's up with it. Gets a little bit by her, but on the backup is the left fielder. She's up with it. Barta round second and heads for third. And that puts Prager at second on the outfield bobble. So now Breaking Bats has something going here. Runners at second and third and nobody out. That'll bring up Stewart here. She goes after the first pitch. Sends a little shot that the shortstop can't get. That ball's still fair. Throw at the plate, not in time as Barta slides in to be safe. There's the throw down to second to try to keep that runner from getting any further, but Stewart manages to get in as Prager get in there safe at second, as Prager is safe at third. So no outs recorded, 1 run in for Breaking Bats.
And she didn't quite get there, but that was a great effort by the pitcher, because if she's able to catch that ball, that runner's going to have to hold it third, and if they strayed from the bag, she might even get 2 out of that.
Right, she laid out for that. That was a good effort. There's a ground ball again, but this time the catcher snags it, makes a beautiful play up the middle, and is able to get the out. She dove for it, came up with it in her glove, and got the ball to first base without there being any kind of advance.
Phenomenal. Great dive, amazing get. And
Prager
is it to first.
Prager was able to come in. Stewart heads to third, but Levine was out on the amazing play by the shortstop, by the pitcher there. Great stop. That'll bring up Klein now. She takes a strike. What a play. That was, hang a star on that one. There's a fly ball to third base. Will she have it? Yes, she does. So that play goes to F5 as Klein heads back to her dugout.
Some of these Breaking Bats hitters are taking that first pitch, but the Joker's pitcher's coming up with a strike almost every time, so they may have to start swinging a little more.
As if on cue, little outside curveball catches the corner, and we've got 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fly ball left center field. Left fielder's up with it and makes the basket catch on her knees for out number 3. So Joker's flashing some leather there. Breaking Bat still manages to put 2 across, but strands a runner at third.
Without that defense, that inning could have gotten a whole lot worse.
We saw a double in that game, and so the first double is brought to you by the Sports Diversity Leadership Council. The SDLC is a membership organization of sports teams, leagues, and organizations, as well as corporate partners, convention and visitors bureaus, sports commissions, and individuals working together to harness the power of the sports community. ASANA is a proud member of the SDLC, and you can find out more at sportsdiversityleadership.com.
We talked about the difficulty taking that first strike because ASANA, like most leagues, has gone to starting batters with a 1-1 count. So you walk up there with a ball and a strike. So when you take a strike, you've got 2 strikes. And if you take another strike or foul a ball off, you're going to be out.
That'll bring up Shyla Treadwell, Jersey, as she is called. Breaking Bats is setting their defense. They're going to go with kind of a odd outfield configuration there. They've got 2 outfielders on the left side, but they brought in that right center fielder almost as a deep second baseman. They've got the first base there, second base playing straight away, but that outfielder at right center is just kind of right up the middle, looking to stop something in. Here's the pitch to Treadwell. That pitch is illegal. Called the ball because it didn't reach the height requirement.
It's an interesting deployment out there by the Breaking Bats. It can work for short balls, but if Jokers can get a hold of one, they can exploit that. And
with the count full, she swings and fouls off that pitch, and Treadwell is out on what is a strike. Today's strikeout is brought to you by 100% Bully Proof. If you've ever been the victim of bullying, whether it was by family, at school, or at work, find out how you can transform your thoughts and actions to strike out your bully's spirit. Find out more about their boot camps or team building workshops at 100%bully-proof.com. And D. Phipps swings and misses as both of these pitchers are on their game for this championship. We're going to have a little conversation here between the umpires as Ben comes in to have a chat with Carla. Just wanted to make clear on everything. These umpires are all set now. Carla's behind the plate. There's a fly ball to the second baseman. That ball looks like it's ticketed for the outfield, and it gets past the right fielder. So Phipps is going to be able to recover from the swing and a miss and sends a little dinker into right field. Good enough for a single.
And it was good to hold that to a single. That is the danger when you have basically 5 infielders and a short left fielder, is you've got some big gaps out there if you can get the ball towards the fence.
That ball hit the confluence there of the turf and the grass, where the turf infield meets the grass outfield. And it just kind of dies there because there's more dirt there than grass. Brings up Pam Millard, batting from the left side. Always a good sign when a runner is at first. She sends the opposite field, though, right into the glove of the third baseman, who looks the runner back to first. D. Phipps is able to get back there. But Millard is out on a good solid shot right at the third baseman, who did a good job to snag that ball and watch that runner go all the way back. She had the gun cocked ready to go, though.
She was absolutely ready to go, and that's a heads-up play.
That'll be Cheryl Murphy.
The other note on the outfielder's depth, though, is they may be not as shallow as you might think, because this fence is 355 to dead center field, whereas most of the fences these leagues play on are more like 300.
That ball is called a ball. I should point out that they brought in just now a pinch runner for D. Phipps as Cheryl Whiteway Murphy takes a ball. So it's 2 balls and 1 count. And that ball is called to strike.
And these teams get one of those pitcher courtesy runners every inning. They can use it on any runner that they want.
Sends a little ground ball to shortstop. She's up with it and just tosses it over to second for the easy third out. Jokers unable to play to run, but sure had something going early. As the play goes 6-4, Phipps is forced out for the third out. And we'll have Laura Smith, Dee Soriano, and Tammy Fletcher rounding out the bottom third of this Jokers lineup when they return. Meanwhile, we head to the bottom of the second inning. For breaking bats coming up, we've got Foley, Goodrum, and Cantor.
You mentioned there's 3 umpires for this game. For most of the tournament, we've had 2 umpires a game, and many leagues only have 1. But having 3 out there just makes it easier to have the right angles and the right eyes on the play to make sure you get that call right.
And that's something that ASANA will do for this championship, wanting to make sure that we've got the best angles possible to give these players the best possible experience. And these umpires have been out there with the players. They've been out there all week long, battling the heat, battling the long hours. They'll call 6-8 games in a day, or sometimes even more. They've been rained on. They've been burned by the sun and the turf heat. They've been out there. They've been gamers too. Foley's in the box now. Sends a little shot out to left center field. That one's going to drop. It's going to get kind of kicked a little bit as the tricky hop.
You saw a little splash of water out there when that one came down.
Yeah, and so that tells you just how much moisture is still on those fields, because that hit the grass and not the turf. So the left center fielder did a good job to keep track of that ball to make sure that Foley did not advance beyond first. And we have a strike again. Beautiful curve inside that catches the corner. There's a little shot right up the middle to the shortstop. She's up with it. Tosses on the backhand to second. And on the relay throw to first, not in time. But cue the Sports Center music because that was a beautiful play by the shortstop.
What a flip. That was a beautiful play at any level. And for E players to be ready to do that and try to make that happen, that was special.
And kept her balance the whole time. Made a solid little, I mean, that was right on the money. That would have hit the bag. Brings up Cantor now. She takes a pitch just a little deep. So we've got one
the Joker's outfielder's not quite as short as what the bats are doing, but they're coming in a bit too there behind second base.
There's a ground ball past the glove of the shortstop and the third baseman. That was a seeing eye single by Cantor, who gets Goodrum over to first. And breaking bats have runners at first and second again. This will bring up Rodriguez, who bats with one out.
These pitchers are doing a great job. It's one thing to throw a first pitch strike, but to throw one they don't want to swing at is even more impressive.
There's a ground ball. Shortstop up with it. Tosses to second for one. Fires back over to one for the second out, and they get the double play. And breaking bats will go down here without getting a run across, and Jokers are able to not allow any more runs coming in, so they do not increase their deficit at all. Cantor is forced out at second for the second out. Rodriguez on the fielder's choice will be the third out of the inning, and that'll bring up Frank, and then we'll flip the batting order for Barta and Prager when breaking bats come back in. They're the home team. The score's still 2-0. Jokers still looking for that first run. They'll bring up Laura Smith, Dee Soriano, and Tammy Fletcher.
And I think that double play was good fundamentals about knowing your runner. It would have been easy to take the lead runner at third, but I think that shortstop knew that she was going to get a chance at that runner going to first and got two. And we just want to remind you that the games today are brought to you by Dirt Athletics, your premier choice for event apparel. A key ASANA partner for 11 years. If you've been to an ASANA tournament, chances are you've come home with dirt on you. If you're looking to upgrade the hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and shorts for your event, find out what Dirt can do for you. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/dirtathletics.
I'm pretty sure that half my wardrobe is Dirt Athletic clothing.
I think mine is, although I think sometimes my partner might be trying to steal those and get rid of them from the old tournaments.
Right, only because they don't want to see you with one 15 years old, because that suggests a certain age.
A certain age. Though we both started very young, right?
Well, I was an infant 25 years ago. There's a ground ball to third. She's up with it, sets her feet, sends a fire to strike over to first, and she digs it out of the ground, and the out is called. Dave, right there for that.
More great softball there, able to make that stretch, get that dig, and keep the toe on first base for the out. Easy to let that toe come off when you're stretching out for the ball.
And to keep her eye on it all the way into the glove, because how many times have we seen that ball get underneath that glove at every level, and then it's just off to the races.
Off to the races.
Dee Soriano comes up with one out. Joker still trying to get a run past third. Hasn't happened yet. As Soriano takes another good pitch right on the inside corner. They are working that inside corner, both pitches today. Ground ball, third base, past the third base glove, down the line. Soriano is going to round first. She's going to think about going to second, but the left fielder does a good job of getting that ball into the shortstop to hold what could have been a double to a single, and Soriano will stop at one.
And the second baseman got over there to take that throw. With all these people close to the bag on the infield, you have to be really clear about who's covering the bag when.
Right. Having too many people at the bag is just going to cause confusion. Nobody knows who to throw to. Bring up Tammy Fletcher. She hits a ground ball to shortstop. Shortstop's up with it, sends a toss over to first. On the relay back to first is not in time.
And on that one, you saw the rover come in and cover from behind second rather than the second baseman, who's well far to the right on that one.
So Fletcher hits into the fielder's choice. Soriano was out at second. I said first. She was out at second. That'll bring up Barb Wilt, leading off again. So it'll be Wilt, Anderson, and Hardesty should this inning continue. Runner at first, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. And that one hit the plate, but it curved back over. Looked like it was going to come in right dead center, but it was just a little bit short. Wonder if that's not by design. I wonder if we won't see a deep inside pitch next time. That one also a little bit outside.
And Roman, for folks scoring at home, how do you personally score that rover? Are they a 10 or a 9 out there?
Well, it depends on where they're coming from. It really, I know that there's a way to do it. I don't know if this is the way you're supposed to do it, but I just assume left is 7, left center is 8, right center is 9, and right is 10. So here's a ground ball to short. She's up with it over to second for the third out. So Barb Wild-Hilson to the fielder's choice. That will force Fletcher out for the third out, and we'll have Anderson, Hardesty, and Geely coming up next. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, so we're going to score that one 6-9, and I agree with you when that right center comes in, but I've seen some people try to score the rover as a 10 whenever it is.
I think it's kind of based on the position they're playing at that time.
One of our senior umpires is telling us that, yes, that rover comes in sort of as a 10. So it's people do it a little differently. And it gets hard because a lot of times you'll have the rover come in and out, depending on whether there's a runner at first or not.
Have you played with a lot of rovers before?
As a coach, I've started to, because a lot of teams, I coach in a D team, and a lot of teams in D teach people to hit up the middle. So it can be good if you have a fast person in there and somebody who has experience playing both infield and outfield.
I'm always worried because I pitch such, batting practice balls. It seems like sometimes I'm just waiting for those balls to get to the gaps.
I think it's harder in C and B because you have more players who can hit the gaps on purpose, and that's what you're giving up usually with a rover.
I pitch such meatballs. I'm just, waiting for them to come down most of the time. Frank hits, after taking a strike, hits the ball right back at that pitcher, and that's the wrong place to hit it because we've seen her flash the leather already today.
Got 2 and almost got that third one.
Right. So takes that one away. The middle is closed as Barta steps into the plate with 1 out. There's a ground ball to second. Up with it. Fires to first in time for the out. And 2 quick outs here as Joker's trying to keep that deficit to just 2. As that play is scored 4-3. That'll bring up Prager. She's got some wheels for sure. We've seen her running around the bases in our other game. She's got speed to spare, really. And falls victim to that inside pitch, that inside curve. It looks like it's gonna be a ball. Just curves over right at the last second, and that will fool anybody. That one stayed straight. Got past the glove of the third baseman. Left fielder's up with it and gets it over to the shortstop to keep Prager, who did a nice job of recovering after that swing and a miss, at first base.
Important to get that ball in quickly and hold her to first base, given how fast she is. You don't want her in scoring position.
Here comes Stewart now. 2 outs and a runner at first. Here's the pitch. That one goes a little bit outside and deep, says Carla, home plate umpire. It's Dave over on the first side and Wendy over on the third base side. And there's a little pop-up to the pitcher. She gets it, running backwards, looking like Terrell Owens out there.
Another great play. I think we both know from the mound, anytime you have to back up to catch a fly ball on the mound, it is not an easy play.
She turned her back to it, watched the ball come in over her left shoulder, and just stuck her glove out there like a pro. So that'll be it for breaking bats. No run score. We'll see Levine, Klein, and Lindsay coming up in the next inning. But for now, as we head to the top of the 4th, Jokers 0, home team breaking bats 2.
And another defensive showdown here. We've had a few of those over the past couple days.
We have. We have been treated. So for the 3 days we've been broadcasting, we have been treated to some great games. And those of you watching along on Facebook and YouTube, I hope you have appreciated the level of softball that we have been able to enjoy over the last several days. This ASANA Softball World Series has definitely been one for the books as these women came to play. can see some large crowds gathering around. As we enter these championship games, these are only going to get larger. Lots of the ladies sticking around to cheer for their friends that they've made, or the cheer against the enemies that they've made. The teams that knock them out. You'll see a lot of great sportsmanship here, as some of the teams that get knocked out will stick around and cheer for the team that beat them.
It's great camaraderie here at ASANA when they do that, and it's just stay and have fun and get to know more people. And
there's a ground ball by Anderson past the glove of the third baseman. She's going to get on down to first base as the throw comes into two to keep her there. That'll bring up Mary Hardishy with a run on and nobody out.
And one of the reasons that we have this E division is to make sure that there is a place for everybody who wants to play, no matter how new they are or what their skill level is or what's going on. Sometimes people get injured over time and have to, can't play at the level they used to. So it's great to have this for everybody to be able to compete.
Just make sure you bring passion.
They are putting it all out there. There's a lot of heart in every one of these games.
Here's the 2-1. That one gets a line drive right at the third baseman, and Anderson scampers back to first to make sure she's not doubled off, because that third baseman once again was looking, just waiting for that throw.
I think she wants her double play today.
She does. She's going to get one before it's over. That'll bring up Tanya Geely, the pitcher. Pitcher on pitcher crime here. There's a hard shot, but into the other field it will go. In case you're wondering, it was fouled there too. So that'll be 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. There's a hard shot right up the middle. Sanderson's going to get to second in time as the throw comes in from the outfield. And Geely is aboard with a single.
And that's some good hitting there. Trying to give it a really good rip on your first one. You go foul. You got to put the next one in play, so you put it right up the middle.
Jen Chilton will take the batter's box with runners at first and second. Pitcher's asking for a new ball. That ball is probably soaking wet. She gets another one. 1-1 count. Here's the pitch. Chilton lays off of that one, but another strike. They are strike throwing machines out there. Here's the 1-2. Goes after that one. Hard ball down the third baseline. That gets away from the third baseman. Sanderson's going to round third. Will this be the first run for Jokers? It will. Geely gets the second and holds there, and Chilton has a 1-out RBI single down the third base line, and the Jokers get on the board with still another runner in scoring position for Charlotte Treadwell.
And that pitcher was definitely thinking about going to third base. It was a good job to get that in quickly and hold it to 1 run.
2-1 is the score now as Treadwell takes a shot to left field. There's a base hit. Geely heads to third. She's going to stay there and just does beat the throw. So avoids the force out as she manages to leg it out. So now bases are full of what, Joel?
Bases are full of Jokers.
They are that, and that'll bring up D. Phipps with 1 out. And that rover for the Breaking Bats has come in again. We see her there, deep second base. And there's a shot that gets over the rover's head and into left center field. The left center fielder's up with it, brings the ball in, but Geely will score. Chilton's rounds third. Here she comes. Here's the play at the plate. It is not in time. Now the runner's heading to second. She slides in time as Treadwell gets to third, and D. Phipps is at second with a single and then advances on the throw. But that brings in 2 Jokers as both Geely and Chilton have scored, bringing the score for the Jokers to take the lead 3-2.
That throw was on the money. It just didn't quite have the zip to get there, and once it hit the ground, it didn't make it. But it was a great throw into home plate.
That'll be Pam Millard batting from the left side. She lined a ball to the third baseman. Her last at bat hits a ground tapper back to the first base. No opportunity for the runs to score, but she's going to come in anyway. Here's the throw. It's not in time as Treadwell steals a bag there. Steals a run, and that's the 4th run this inning for the Jokers.
And that's heads up. It's hard in E&D to get a ball to go from the pitcher to the first base to home before you can get there from third. So that's a good send.
It's hard in any division. I mean, I would not have gone Treadwell has far more guts than I do. There's an inside pitch, called inside. So Cheryl Whiteway Murphy is in the box now. Here's the pitch. That one catches the corner on the outside, so she's kind of going inside, outside. She didn't realize that the first ball was called a ball. She thought she'd struck her out looking.
Yeah, I thought it was a strike too at first, but it's the fist that's the strike. The hand waving is inside.
But she gets the strikeout she was looking for this time, swinging. And Whiteway Murphy goes down on strikes for the third out, but not until the Jokers plate 4, taking a 4-2 lead here as we head into the bottom of the fourth inning. That'll be Levine, Klein, and Lindsay coming up.
You know, with the arms on these outfielders, I feel like we need to stop calling second base scoring position, because there are balls going to the outfield and those runners are getting held at third most of the time.
Yeah, it's just too dangerous out there. Definitely got some cheers in the stands. This crowd, I can't say that they're a partisan crowd. I think they're a bipartisan crowd. The left side seems to be rooting for Breaking Bats. The right side seems to be Jokers fans. You'll notice the Jokers are wearing some tie-dye. They've brought tie-dye into the league. They've been around as a team for 21 years, and they have always been a tie-dye team.
Always a tie-dye team. They're nice. And those are, you know, the purple and green and gold they're wearing. Those are New Orleans colors.
You know, this is the second game we've had, and I just have now noticed that.
They can pull those out again for Mardi Gras.
Well, you know, they're also LSU colors, and as an Aggie, I refuse to see that. Our Aggies are playing the Alabama Crimson Tide today. I'm going to root for the Aggies, but I have a sneaking suspicion I know how that game's going to go against the #1 team in the country.
I wouldn't usually miss a college football Saturday, but this ASANA World Series is well worth the time.
Well, my game's a pre-gone conclusion, so here's a fly ball up to shortstop. Good communication between short and second as Levine is out on the play that goes F6. That'll bring up Klein.
Little conversation here with the umpire. I don't know if she's asking something, or as Roman said, they've been out there together a long time. Sometimes there's just a few inside jokes to take care of.
Right. There's a ground ball past the glove of the third baseman. So Klein is going to be safe at first. I will sometimes, if I'm going to do that manager thing where I'm going to step on the plate and make an out to start a new inning, I will sometimes tell the umpire that's what I'm going to do, just so that they know that I'm not trying to be a bad sport or anything. I'm working the clock. Here comes the pitch to Lindsay. That's just inside.
Getting that done is not as easy as you think it is to make contact and step on that plate.
I am embarrassed to say that I have stepped on the plate, swung the bat, and missed more times than I care to admit. Here's the pitch to Lindsay. She sends a shot to the second baseman. She's up with it, gets the out at one. On the turn back over to first, not in time as the ball gets away. So Lindsay's going to head to second and stop there. So Klein is forced on the fielder's choice. She's out at second, but on the throw, Lindsay's able to advance to second, and that'll bring up Foley with a runner in scoring position. These games are 7 innings. These championship games are 7 innings, so there is no time constriction here. All the games we've had up to now have been time-limited games. That is not the case here. This game will go 7. There's a fly ball out past the glove of the second baseman. Lindsay's going to round second. She's coming home, but the throw gets away as the throw went to first to try to get that force out to keep Lindsay from scoring, but she's able to get a run in, and Foley was safe at first. It was a good effort by the right center fielder to try to get that out, but Foley was able to beat it out. So Breaking Bats puts a run across the plate, making it 4-3 for Goodrum with 2 outs and a runner on.
And it's sometimes unusual to get a lot of 7-inning games in those time limits we had in earlier games, but because of the quality of the defense, we saw a lot more 7-inning games this series than we usually do.
That curveball is called a strike, so now we've got 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ground ball back at the pitcher. That's not the place you want to go. She lobs one over to first, and that will be the third out as the play is 1-3. So, Breaking Bats plates a run, cuts this lead in half. 4-3 is now the score. When we come back with Breaking Bats, it'll be Cantor, Rodriguez, and Frank. They are the home team, so we're going to jump into the top of the fifth inning. 2 more innings to go. 5, 6, 7. I guess that's 3. So we hit into the top of the fifth here. It is Jokers 4, Breaking Bats 3.
And if you're looking out at the field in between the pitching line and the plate, you're going to see a couple of pink ribbons. Those were out there from yesterday from ASANA's Breast Cancer Awareness Day.
That was honoring the Lynn Lewis Foundation, and the Lynn Lewis Flag Football Tournament is happening in coordination with the ASANA World Series. That kicks off today. We can say kicking off. That kicks off today. 16 teams are competing in that Flag Football Championship. The most ever at the ASANA tournament. And the interest just continues to grow. We had Mashonda on the microphone on Thursday who talked a little bit about that. How that initially was 6 teams and has grown now to 16. As flag football in the women's community continues to grow in popularity.
And in fact, it was mentioned that some of the ASANA players actually do play flag football in their home leagues.
Yeah, we see a lot of those legitimate athletes kind of competing in both. That'll bring up Laura Smith for the Jokers. She takes a pitch on the outside corner. So here's the 1-2. That ball curved back over. Smith had to go after it, send a pop fly out to the shortstop, and there's 1 out.
I played for a team once where 4 or 5 of us were playing flag football at the same time, and it drove our coach crazy trying to schedule a practice.
Yeah, because you want to practice on Saturdays, and in our city, the flag football teams, they play, their league is on Saturdays, and our games are on Sundays. So I had a team where there were 4 or 5 folks, and I didn't worry about practices as much as I worried about injuries. We've got 1 out here, D. Soriano at the plate. Here's the pitch. Goes after that one, sends a shot out to the second baseman, off the glove. Soriano's running down the line, so she will be safe at first. And the Jokers trying to extend that lead, maybe try to get that run back. And they're going to put in a runner for Soriano. Joel, explain how that works.
So a courtesy or pinch runner, every inning, they can use anybody from their lineup and swap it out. It can only happen once. So if something happens after you've already used the runner, that person has to run.
Right, so if you've batted around and you've already used 1 runner, well, you're going to have to, that whoever you used it for is going to have to run themselves that time. Or you can sub them out if you've got the depth on the bench.
Sub them out. And that's a change from 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was. Prior to that, you had to identify somebody who would always get the runner. Now you can use it when you need to or want to, and it makes it a little more strategic. You'll have some coaches who want to make sure it gets used every inning.
Fletcher goes after that one, sends a ground ball to shortstop. She's up with it, gets the out at second base, but no return throw to first. So Soriano is forced out at second, and Fletcher is safe at first, and we're going to flip the lineup card for Barb Wilt to come up here and see what she can do with a runner at first and 2 outs as the Jokers are trying to get that runner back. They still lead here 4-3 in the top of the 5th inning. Breaking Bats is the home team. And here's the pitch to Wilt. She sends a shot down the first base line. That is foul.
And it looks like the batters have caught on to the fact that these pitchers are just coming with strikes because they aren't waiting back on that first pitch as much anymore.
No, and with the 1-1 count, that puts you at an automatic, 1 ball, 2 strike count, and there's none to give. So you're not able to really foul anything off. So it's pretty much, if you've got a pitcher who is consistently throwing strikes, you might find their approach from patience to grip it and rip it. So Wilt now has 2 strikes, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And there's the pitch. She goes after that one. Line drive right back to the pitcher who gloves it easily. And that will be the 3rd out as Wilt is out on the line drive to the pitcher. So it'll be Anderson, Hardesty, and Geely coming up for the Jokers the next time they hit the plate. But for now, it'll be Cantor, Rodriguez, and Frank for Breaking Bats.
Looks like she wanted us to know that it wasn't just the Joker's pitcher who could play a little defense out there.
Right. Anything you can do, I can do.
There's a lot of cheering here coming from the stands. Those other teams watching and cheering are getting a little loud out there.
This changeover is brought to you by Brandy Crass at Southland Realtors. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Knoxville area, or you know someone who is, put Brandy Crass to work for you. She will exceed your expectations because she will not be outworked. Reach her directly at 865-323-7723 or email her at brandy@southlandrealtors.com. That's Brandy with an I at southlandrealtors.com. Here's the first pitch to Cantor. She sends one out to left field. It is a fair ball, gets past the left fielder. Cantor is hustling into second. Here comes there's not going to be a throw. They're going to hold it. The shortstop decides to just head it over to third, throwing ahead of the runner to keep her at second. So Cantor's on board with a leadoff double.
And that was one of the hardest hit balls we've seen this game, and also one of the first actual slips by a fielder. They've been doing well out there despite the water in the outfield, but that one was a little bit of a slip.
Rodriguez comes in now with the runner at second. That's the tying run. Here's a pop-up. That's going to go foul, and the catcher's not able to get it. I have to imagine that transitioning as an infielder, so you're playing deep as an infielder, you're going after that fly ball. I have to imagine that transition from turf to grass has got to be difficult, tracking and keeping your balance.
That's never easy, and almost like walking off a running staircase, running a walkway. You got to plant your foot different as you're going from one surface to the other.
There's a ground ball to short. Gets past the shortstop, but because of where it was hit, Cantor couldn't really advance, or she risked being tagged out because shortstop was basically there in the baseline trying to get that ball. So if she gets it, it's an easy tag. So she wisely stayed at second, and Rodriguez makes it to first on the single into left center. That'll bring up Frank.
I mean, you want to make that play, but no real harm done. Almost the same as just if you had walked somebody to set up the force outs.
Right, so you've got runners at first and second, nobody out. Frank lined it back to the pitcher the last time she was at the plate. They use a pinch runner here. Tying runs at second as the pitcher comes back with another first pitch strike. It is 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's been the theme. Goes after that one, and that's going to bounce foul. So we've got another foul ball, strikeout. So that's out number 1, and we flip the lineup card to go back to Barta. It'll be Barta, Prager, and Stewart if this inning continues. Barta comes up with the runners at first and second. That's the tying run at second. That's championship softball. You're in the 5th inning, and you've got the tying run at second base.
And that was really smart pitching. You get that first strike, and what she did was come in on the hands with an inside pitch. You got an eager batter ready to swing, and that ball's often going to go foul.
Kind of mugged her a little bit there, didn't she? So Barta steps into the box, and here's the pitch. Sends that one, a little pop-up to the second baseman. The first baseman comes in for it, doesn't get it. Cantor will get to third. Rodriguez will get to second, and the umpire's opting against calling the infield fly there. They're deciding about it right now, and they are making that decision now, waiting to see what the call is. They're conferring with each other, and they're going to go ahead and call an infield fly. So the batter will be out on the infield fly. Runners can advance at their own risk. So we do have an out. That is out number 2. That's a big call there.
It is a big call, and just to go over it, the infield fly is if there's batters on first and second or first, second, and third with less than 2 outs. On an easy pop fly, the umpire can just call the batter out, but it has to be one they think is easily catchable, and that's a judgment call.
So Prager, with all of her speed, comes up, hits a ground ball to shortstop. Shortstop's up with it, gets it over to first, and not in time as the ball gets away. Meanwhile, Cantor will score. Rodriguez, who was running on contact, rounds third and scores. And just like that, the home team Breaking Bats takes a 5-4 lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. So that is how big that call was. They're still able to get that ball in even with 2 outs.
Just makes that call, like you say, even bigger getting those runs home.
That was a big at-bat by Prager, and because of her speed, the shortstop kind of had to rush that throw a little bit because she was hustling down that line. I'm not sure that that wasn't a speed kills kind of play because she really just was hustling.
Never stopped and just kept heading home. And, you know, on that infield fly roll, one of the reasons the umpires are going to confer on that is any one of them could have called it, and if the infielders heard it and stopped, it really has to be an out then. So, you know, I'm not sure if anybody called it or if they did decide, but hard to say on those flies that are maybe catchable but drop anyway.
It's always hard to call an infield fly when the theory is it should be a routine play and then the routine play isn't made. And there's a foul back right into the catcher. And we have 2 strikes. The pitcher's going to come and check on her, girl. Everything's okay, so the pitcher's going to head back to toe that chalk line, which again is 50 feet away. Bases are set at 70. Prager's at first. Stewart now with 2 strikes is going to see what she can do. Here's the pitch. Ground ball right back to the pitcher. Up with it, gloves it, fires to first, and that is out number 3 as Stewart goes down 1-3. Boy, that pitcher's glove is just on fire today.
I don't know. I feel like in most games it's the shortstop where the coach is going, hit it to somebody else. But today It's the pitcher.
Today it's don't hit it to her. She has gotten everything but one, and the one was impossible to get anyway.
Unbelievable. Really great defense again.
So Breaking Bats manages to plate 2. And that'll bring up Levine, Klein, and Lindsay. That's 4, 5, and 6 when the Bats come back again in the bottom of the 6th inning. But as we head to the top of the 6th, we'll have Terry Anderson, Mary Hardesty, and Tanya Gili. That's 2, 3, and 4 for the Jokers as they trail 5-4 here in the 6th inning. So, folks, if you wanted a close championship game, you've got it.
Yeah, what more can you ask for? A 1-run differential going into the 6th, 2 innings left to play.
So if you're cheering along on Facebook, let them hear you. They're going to go back and watch this game. Both of these teams will. And they'll want to know you're there.
And there's no ties. Somebody's going to have to win this. This is the championship. So there's a way to do a tiebreaker if it gets there at the end of 7, and we'll talk about it if it comes to it.
So on that, let's talk about an if game here. So Breaking Bats are coming out of the losers bracket. So if they win, they will play another game. If they lose, the Jokers will have won the tournament. There's a ground ball to short. Sanderson's running it out. Anderson is, and the play is made as the shortstop fires a strike over to first base to snuff that thread out. So we have the play go 6-3, and Anderson is out on the 4th. That'll bring up Mary Hardesty.
That's right. These tournaments are double elimination, which means you're not out until you lose 2. So the team that's coming in from the winner's bracket hasn't lost any. So if they lose the first one, they get a chance at another one.
Here's the first pitch to Hardesty with a runner at first. Sorry, no runner at first. Nobody on. Top of 6. Hardesty sends a shot right to shortstop. She's able to range for right and get it. Comes set, fires and throws and gets the out. Out number 2. That was a Sports Center play right there.
That was amazing. Deep in the hole to come up with that throw. That's big-time softball.
And that's just Prager's speed again. That's the shortstop. That's the batter number 2 in this lineup, showing that speed again. So she comes up with the key single that she beats out to score those 2 runs and then makes 2 fantastic plays. There's a ball to the opposing pitcher here, Tanya Gili. She comes up, goes after that one, sends a little grounder to third. Will she be able to hustle down the line? She is. The third baseman fires over, but not in time. Makes a good stop to get the ball, but Gili able to leg it out, and that's just that championship effort.
That was a great effort. Just a little bit late on that one.
Jen Chilton now will come in as this inning continues with a runner at first and 2 out. Gili's waving, trying to get someone's attention. Looks like she wants a runner there. at first, but they have decided, no, they're going to make a run.
That's a rough feeling out there on first base when you're asking for that runner.
There's a ground ball, second base, up with it. The Rover gets it, sends it over to shortstop for out number 3, and well, that's why they're there.
That's why they're there.
So we're going to call that 10-3 on that play as the Rover makes the, or 10-6 as the Rover makes that out for the shortstop covering. So Geely is forced out at third. Runner wouldn't have helped there.
No, I don't think so.
So that'll bring up Shyla, Treadwell, D. Phipps, and Pam Ballard when the Jokers see the 7th inning. But for now, as we head into the bottom of 6, it will be the 4, 5, 6 hitters for breaking bats, Levine, Klein, and Lindsay, as they try to expand this 1-run lead they have. It is 5-4 in the bottom of the 6th in this E Division championship game.
And Roman, you mentioned that if game, and I think that is something that, you know, fans and the people online might love, but it is the scheduler's nightmare.
Right. These umpires, though, they'll work anything. They love these if games.
Who do you think has the advantage in an if game? The team that's hot in just one, or the team that's just got to win 1 out of 2?
You know, that's a good question, Joel. I don't know. I've been in both situations. It really kind of depends, I think, on how the game was won. If it was a really super lopsided game, and the team coming out of the winner's bracket then loses on a really lopsided affair, you can kind of easily kind of wash that away and say, well, that was just a one-off. But if it was a close game like this, and it feels like the momentum has swung in the favor of the team coming out of the loser's bracket, it almost feels like they're the ones to beat. And there's a called strike 3 on Levine, who gets caught looking, and that pitcher is having herself a whale of a day.
And that batter might be buying the drinks tonight.
Those pitches are just deceptive because they look like they're going to be at ball, and then they come back in.
I really think this pitcher from Jokers is using the width of that pitching line well to move around and create different angles for strikes.
And there's another one. Strike 2 to Klein. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Goes after that one, sends a line shot over the left, over the third baseman's head as she is able to get to second on the single.
Yeah, the one if game I ever played in, we were coming out of the loser's bracket, and you got to remember the loser's bracket team has usually played a lot more games to get there. So we managed to pull off that first game, but we were gassed in the if game.
There's a strike on the inside corner. Surprise, surprise. Here's the 1-2. Runner at first, 1 out. There's a fly ball. Shortstop is calling for it. She makes the out. For out number 2. So that gets called F6. So if you're hearing me do that and you don't know what the heck I'm saying, each position on the each defensive position in softball has a number. Baseball, softball, it's all the same. The pitcher is 1. The catcher is 2. First base is 3. Second base is 4. Yep. Second base is 4. Third base is 5. And shortstop is 6. So if the ball gets hit to the shortstop, they throw it to first. That play goes 6-3. And there's a strikeout for the 3rd out. So the 4, 5, 6, and 7 batters provide a little resistance to the Jokers as they're going to come up now to start the 7th inning trailing by a run. And if you're watching on Facebook, that last foul out came right back into your screen as that ball was headed right for our camera. So we'd like to thank the ball for not hitting our very expensive camera up there. But next time, try a little harder.
Yeah, as a Cubs fan, I really would like to have my fishnet out, but there's netting between us and the field, so it wouldn't do me any good.
So, Joel, for this championship game, we have a Cloud Sports Network t-shirt to give out to the MVP, and right now I've got 2 candidates in mind. Tell me what you think. Depending on how this game goes, if the game goes to the breaking bats, For me, it's that shortstop who has just been incredible defensively. Had that key single that scored the 2 runs that came in. So so to me, that's our odds-on favorite. If Jokers is able to pull this out, it's got to be the pitcher.
Got to be the pitcher. I'm with you on both of those calls. You know, part of what's great about softball is being an individual at the bat and being part of a team on the field, and that shortstop's doing both so well.
So that shortstop is Prager, who will come up here as the Jokers will have their last at bat before this game could be over. If they play to run, well, then we'll go to the international tiebreak rule. And folks, don't go too far away. I believe we have another championship game immediately after this. We'll have about a 5-minute break before that broadcast begins. But we should have another one for you here shortly. So at the conclusion of this game, win or lose, we will be covering a different championship game. So there's a ground ball to third. She's up with it, fires over to first, and there's another MVP candidate. That third baseman has been money.
And she still wants that double play. I think she wanted it even though there wasn't a runner on first. She's looking for it.
That is Levine over at third. And the first out, that's a big out when you're ahead in the championship game as the play goes 5-3. Here's a pitch. That one just deep. You can hear these fans out there rooting their teams on to victory. Here's the 2-1. D. Phipps goes after that one and sends a shot into right field. That one's going to drop in. Gets past the right fielder. D. Phipps is going to round first, head for second. She's chugging. The train is not going to stop as she's going to hold up at second base as this ball comes into the infield finally to Prager. And the tying run is just 140 feet away, and they're going to put out a little faster runner out there to try to bring this game tied. It'll be up to Pam Millard with the runners at second and nobody out. The lefty.
That is a smart use of your pinch runner. This is run counts. This is the time run. You got to get that home. If somebody can score on a single, you get them to second.
You know what umpires love more than if games? Extra innings. Here's the pitch. Millard's going to lay off of that one, but takes a strike on the outside corner. Remember, she has hit to both sides of the field, so she's a smart hitter. Here's the 1-2. She goes after that one, sends it back to the pitcher, looks at the runner at second, and tosses it over there to make the tag, but the ball gets away, and Millard's going to be safe at first. The ball got away. I think that was on the contact.
I think it was on the contact. The third baseman was making a good play, so there was no force out, so she had to tag the runner, and she was ready to do that, but the ball came out, so the runner's safe.
So that'll bring up Cheryl Whiteway Murphy with a tying run just 70 feet away and a runner at first. Ground ball shortstop. Will it be 2? She goes to second for 1, but the ball is dropped and the tying run will score. We have a tie ball game in the 7th inning of the E-Division Championship game here at the 2018 ASANA Softball World Series, and the go-ahead run is just 140 feet away in the person of D. Phipps.
And we may, for the first time, be seeing a little bit of nerves in this championship game.
I'm sorry, D. Phipps scored. That's Pam Millard out there. So a good use of that pinch runner, as you said, Joel. You nailed it. Here comes Laura Smith now. That ball is called a ball. 1 out here. Top of the 7th. Now I should point out that if they do get this run in, it is simply the go-ahead run, because Breaking Bats are the home team. They will bat this inning no matter what happens. Right now the score is tied. The go-ahead run is at second base, and we've got runners at first and second and 1 out. Smith sends a foul ball out to the right side, and that is going to be a strikeout. Not what she wanted to do there, but she will yield it over to Dee Soriano, who is 1 for 2. Hit into a fielder's choice. Her last at-bat singled in her first at-bat. Now, with runners at first and second and a force at any bag, they will be going on contact here with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. on the money. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. With runners at first and second and 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Smith. She goes after that one, sends it to right field. Is it going to be fair? It's going to be fair and drop. Millard rounds third, heads home for the go-ahead score. Phipps gets the third, and on the double, Cheryl Whiteway Murphy hits the third. Dee Soriano gets the second. We've got runners at second and third.
And a great job to find some green there with 2 strikes on you.
Jokers have now taken the lead. 2 outs. Do you still send the runners on contact here, or do you wait and see what happens with the ball? Either way, they're running on contact. Ball gets hit to the third baseman. There's no force, so she has to do something. She's not able to get up there. She kind of had to dive for that ball. So just tosses the ball back to the pitcher, and in so doing, Cheryl Whiteway Murphy manages to make it in. So she got over, got on, and got in, and that gives the Jokers a 2-run lead here in the top of the 7th. That'll bring up Tammy Fletcher as Soriano is still at first. Sorry, that's Barb. Wilt in the plate. Fletcher's at first. So we've got Fletcher at first, Soriano at second, and Wilt at the plate. Here's the pitch. Wilt goes after it. Ground ball, second base. Up with it. Sends it over to the shortstop. That's Prager. They get the third out there on the force.
And that was a great play. That runner was running hard. That took some zip on that throw. If they had just lobbed that ball over to second, they might not have gotten the play.
Well, folks on Facebook and on YouTube, if you were hoping for a close and dramatic championship game, we have done our best to deliver here at the 2018 ASANA Softball World Series. This is a 2-run deficit that the home team, Breaking Bats of West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale, come into. They're the home team. They've got 2 runs. They've got to make up 3 to tie, or 3 to win. If they're able to get 3, then we'll see an if game on another field. If they are not, then this game belongs to the Jokers of Norfolk, Virginia. And if you're Dirt Athletics, you gotta love this, because this game is brought to you by all of our games today by Dirt Athletics, your premier choice for event apparel as a key ASANA partner. Chances are, if you've been to an ASANA tournament in the last 11 years, you have come home with dirt on you. So here's Goodrum stepping into the box. She hits a shot right at the third base. That's Pam. And the first out here is recorded. LD5 as Goodrum lines out. That'll bring up Cantor. And then the bottom of the order, we've got Cantor, Rodriguez, and Frank. 9, 10, 11.
Great catch and a big first out for this inning.
When you're up in the last inning, that first out is so critical. There's a fly ball. Shortstop. Does she have it? And she does. F6 for the 2 outs of this. So this Breaking Bats team, this has been a back and forth game. Breaking Bats put 2 on. They've led most of the game. Then the Jokers put a couple on. Then Breaking Bats was able to tie. Then Breaking Bats took the lead, and then the Jokers were able to fight back. We've had a seesaw battle here as Rodriguez comes up, trailing by 2. And 2 outs. And of course, a first pitch strike, as if ordered.
Somewhere a Joker is going rally, rally on 2.
There's the pitch. Line drive right at the shortstop. And the E-Division Championship belongs to the Norfolk, Virginia Jokers, managed by Deb Taylor and Hall of Famer Karen Brickhouse. Congratulations to the Jokers, and congratulations as well for a hard-fought, dramatic game from the Breaking Bats of West Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale. My, oh my, Joel, we've had a heck of a game today.
You can't ask for much more out of the championship game. Back and forth, drama till the end, coming back right there in the 7th inning. That was just amazing.
And this is no way official, but we are going to give a game shirt out to Tanya Geely, the pitcher for the Jokers, who just had a remarkable game today. So with that, we will take a break. We've got another championship game for you here. Congratulations to your E-Division champions and your E-Division runners-up. the Jokers of Norfolk, Virginia, and the Breaking Bats of West Palm Beach, Florida. For Mitch Barnes and Joel Trambley, I'm Roman Jimenez signing off from the Cloud Sports Network. We'll be back in a minute.
They moved on to the side.